Welcome to Box Center. I'm your host, JSmiff. And we're gonna do what we do, man. This is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. I'm your connections. I'm your plug. My peoples. Listen, man. Some interesting updates in boxing that need to be addressed. And we're gonna do that. We are going to address those. Get with me, my peoples. So right here on my trusty pen and paper. It's not on my trusty pen and paper. It's on my paper, which I took care of business with my trusty pen. Had to fix that. So there's a few matchups or potential matchups that I want to talk about, which very interesting. I'm talking about big names, stars, and they trying to mix it up. They trying to fight each other, and we want to see those fights. So I think the fights that I'm gonna talk about today is fights that you guys want to see, that you guys been asking for. I know I've been asking for some of them, and then some of them, it's a surprise, but I'll be happy to see them if they happen. I want to see them happen. Yep. So, first off, let me start off with a potential matchup that I would just love to see, man. I think, the styles, how they say styles make fights. Well, these two styles, if they come together, I'm sure it will be explosive. I'm sure it will be all types of fireworks. And I'd love to see it happen. Conor Benn, the Destroyer, versus Jerome Boots Ennis. Now, Conor Benn actually has called out Boots before, and he's been calling them out recently. And, Boots, I heard rumblings about him, possibly moving up to 154. I don't know what's going to happen with that, being that he hasn't been able to get any of the champions in the 147 divisions. He wants to unify, he wants to be undisputed, but Eddie Hearn hasn't been able to get the champions for him. So, I don't know if he's going to go to 154 or stay at 147, but Jerome Boots Ennis versus Conor Benn, the Destroyer, my peoples. You got to admit it, that matchup will be explosive. Super, listen, man. I don't see that fight going 12 rounds. I just don't see it with the type of fireworks that will be displayed in the ring if those two share it. But right now, we don't know if that's a fight that is going to happen. Now, the one thing that we got to keep in mind is that Boots and Conor, they both were Matchroom. They're both Matchroom fighters. So there's a possibility that we can get that fight. Giancarlo, what's good, my boy? Appreciate y'all jumping on, man. You already know what this is. This is Box Center, my people. Look, this is Box Center. Hit that like button. Subscribe to Box Center if you love boxing. If you don't love boxing, you probably get bored with all the stuff I'm talking about. But if you love boxing, hit that like button and subscribe, because we got that exclusive content for you, my peoples. But we talking about Conor Benn and Jerome Boots Ennis, who, Conor Benn has been calling them out. He wants that smoke. And I tell you what, man, Conor versus Boots, like I said before, man, that fight will be explosive. Like somebody's going to sleep. If they fight each other, it's going to be, I'm telling you, the type of fight that you want to see, because those two styles, they will blending perfectly for a brutal slugfest. I'm just trying to keep it 100 with you, my people. So there you have it. That's the first matchup I wanted to talk about. Hopefully, Eddie Hearn can materialize it. Conor Ben is already saying, I want this action. Boots, he's about that smoke. Let's make it happen, my peoples. Conor Ben, Jerome Boots Ennis. I want to see it. I said what I said. Now, we got to talk about David Benavidez and David Morrell. That's a very interesting fight. Very, very interesting fight. But I'm going to just tell you right now off the bat, David is going to put the Swiss baits on David. Take that. I'm telling you that right now. David is getting slept. Naira Ajala, what's up? Appreciate you jumping on with me. This is Box Center, your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. And we're talking about the upcoming fight between David Benavidez and David Morrell. Like I told y'all, man, David is going to put the Swiss beats on David. That's a fact. I guarantee you that 100%. So I'm looking I'm looking forward to that fight, my peoples. I think David Benavidez has the advantage when it comes to experience. You got to take that into consideration. We're talking about a guy who's already been a world champion, who's already beaten world champions. And Morrell just doesn't have that type of experience. As a professional, we know that he has few fights. I don't hold that against him, because we know that Cuban fighters, first of all, there's an amazing amateur program in Cuba, but also they stay on as amateurs for a long time. They have a lot of amateur fights. And these guys, when they're amateurs at that elite level, they train with professionals. Cuban boxers, Cuban amateurs are essentially professionals who stay on as amateurs. So the fact that David Morrell doesn't have that many fights as a professional, I don't hold that against him. But David Benavidez does have the edge as far as experience because he's already been a champion, because he's fought, high caliber opponents. So I think that's going to be the difference come fight night. David Benavidez, I have him winning that fight. However, it is a very competitive fight. David Morrell, you already seen it, man. He got the high ring IQ. He got, he can punch. Don't get it twisted. We all know David Benavidez got his power, but don't sleep on David Morrell. You know what I'm saying? You sleep on him, you get slept. So it's not going to be, Benavidez is not just going to go out there and wash him or nothing like that. It's going to be a super competitive fight. I'm not sure if it's a stoppage or if it goes the distance. And, David Morrell, if he was to pull off the upset, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I know what he got. I know what he brings to the table. So I'm not dismissing him. All I'm saying is that I know David Benavidez is going to be the favorite in this fight, and I got him winning it. That's my take. But y'all let me know, my peoples, which David y'all got winning that fight. It's going to be too many Davids in the ring on that night, and one David is going to get folded. That's all I'm telling you. But again, my peoples, don't be cheap with that like button, man. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to Box Center. This is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. Word up. Let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next one. I think y'all going to find this interesting. Devin Haney versus Blair the Flair Cobbs. Woo! Woo! That's how he goes. Woo! That Ric Flair joint. I like that fight. I like it as a good comeback fight for Devin Haney. Competitive. Good matchup. I think I think it could potentially be dangerous for Devin. Coming off of that fight with Ryan Garcia to get in there with somebody like Blair the Flair, who has that pop, who can rock you. And it's a possibility that Devin's chin is gonna get tested, because Blair is gonna let his hands go, and he's gonna land. So, I think it's a dangerous fight for Devin Haney, but also a fight that can start getting him that, I don't want to say that respect back, because people respect him, but it's still that part of us watching, Ryan beat him up that bad. I know the part about the steroids and all that stuff, but I also have that perspective, like, yo, steroids don't give you skills. You could say, oh, he hit harder. Ryan was known for his power, so you could say, wow, now he's hitting a lot harder. But yo, skills wise, Ryan kept landing that left hook over and over and over. And I think it's crazy because they spoke about it during training camp. Devin and his team said all he got is a left hook. Well, that's all he kept hitting Devin with, that left hook. So Blair the Flair could be a very dangerous opponent, like I said, because he has that type of power where he's going to test Devin. He's going to test him. So I am looking forward to that fight, because I want to see how Devin Haney is able to bounce back from, what happened to him with Ryan. I want to see how he's able to focus and do what he has to do, for his next opponent. Because remember, right now, they're still going back and forth on social media. They're suing Ryan Garcia, and I don't know if they're suing Golden Boy too, and Bill is talking about it all the time on video. So they haven't moved on from Ryan Garcia. They're still in that emotional state because of what happened. And I understand, listen, if you get cheated, you want to get your get back. So I understand that, But if they haven't moved on from that emotionally, how much or how focused is Devin going to be for his next fight with Blair the Flair, when he's still, going back and forth with Ryan? So I want to see. I want to see how he's going to bounce back, how he's going to be mentally, physically. When he get in the ring, is he going to be gun shy? Is he going to let his hands go? That all remains to be seen. And maybe we'll find out. We may get that fight for December, for the end of the year. Again, that fight is not confirmed. No announcement has been made. Blair the Flair has been talking on social media saying that it's going to happen, but we don't know yet. But I definitely would like to see it. Devin the Dream Haney, Blair the Flair Cobbs. That's a fight I want to see. Let's move on to the next one, my people. Let's get to the next one. I think y'all going to find this one interesting. What the hell is this? Hold on, my people. Let me DJ this thing, man. Let me get something up in here, my people. So I'm doing my DJ thing over here. Hold on a second. I'm about to talk about this possible fight, and this would be a super mega fight. So I need some good music for this type of fight. Hold on, man. Hold on. Yo, check it, my peoples. Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, 2025. That's a fight that we need. That's a fight we want. A lot of people already making predictions about that fight. And, I was disappointed this year just because when Lomachenko pulled out of the fight with Tank Davis, I was like, oh shit, Tank doesn't have an opponent. Shakur doesn't have an opponent. We're going to get that fight. Because Tank's people said they were going to send Shakur a contract. And Shakur was like, yo, send it. I'm going to sign it. Send the contract. I'm signing. So I was like, oh, no, this fight is going to happen this year. I really believed it, yo. I really believed we was going to get Shakur Stevenson versus Tank David this year. Yahil Kovalara, what's good, my guy? So, and then you saw, they never sent Shakur a contract. Shakur moved in a different direction. He was going to fight Joe Cordina, but he got hurt. And now Tank is going to fight this dude. So, Tank's team is saying, however, that they want to fight Shakur next year. And, you know, when I say next year, it sounds like that's, you know, far away, you know, long ways from now. But, yo, we're already in October. Next year is a few months. Tank is about to fight soon. Well, at the end of the year, obviously. And, yo, that means that he can fight Shakur in the first quarter of next year. Easy. Even in the second quarter. Like, if Shakur's going to be his next opponent. Well, Shakur's not going to be his next opponent because he is going to fight. I think they already said that he's going to come back and go straight to Zepeda, to William Zepeda. So, and that would be early next year. Assuming Shakur is going to heal and be in good shape, his hands and all that. That's going to be earlier next year. So for the second quarter, they can actually do Shakur versus Tank. It can happen. I want it to happen. Shakur wanted it to happen. The fans want it to happen. Yo, Tank and his peoples need to stop playing games. Real talk. Make that fight happen, man. Take that L. That's it. Just take that L, bro. You know, Shakur's going to take that strap. Because y'all got to think about it, man. Shakur actually debowed Devin Haney out of his belt. He debowed him. Because he, you know, forced that mandatory, and Devin had to let go of that strap and no longer be undisputed. Devin was undisputed. Think about that. Devin Haney was undisputed up until Shakur Stevenson became his mandatory. Boop. Had to let go of that strap. And now Shakur got that joint. So he debowed him. So it's the same thing with Tank Davis. Tank about to get debowed out of his joint. So he's either going to step in there with Shakur, take that L, or it's going to be that pressure. It's going to be, you got to remember, Errol Spence left Bud Crawford for last. And what was the results? That was the results with that. They already know what that was, man. That was a nasty pummeling session. And now we got Shakur Stevenson trying to get that Tank Davis fight. It hasn't happened. And it's not happening this year, but it's going to happen. It's the inevitable. It's the inevitable. And when it happens, I already told y'all the results. Shakur going to put hands on Lil Buddy. Early. Yo, my peoples, listen, I want to thank y'all for hopping on with me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody who always come to Box Center to show me love. And yo, remember, man, Box Center, the show, Mondays through Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And, by the way, keep in mind, my peoples, Bad Beats by JSmiff is already up. The first 2 episodes are straight fire. You don't want to miss it, man. You do not want to miss it. So, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to Box Center and enjoy this original boxing content. This is for you, my peoples. You already know what this is. Your favorite boxers, favorite boxing show. I'm out. Peace.